Whoa, it's Wulzy. Welcome back to some more level requests. We're on an insane video streak right now. In the past few weeks, I've put out a lot of videos that I'm proud of, so it's time to kick back and check out some level requests. The support recently has been absolutely insane. I'm grateful that I can record the things that I like in this game and still have people watch me, so thank you for everything. Let's kick this off with SYNEON by DFSNATALINO using SYNEON Comet. Okay. We've got a bright, saturated, futuristic looking level right here, with some copy-pasted-ish looking block design, but it's all tied together with some insane visuals in the background, using lots of arrows, which is a repeated trope of this level, it seems. The shadows on these blocks are a cool idea, but they seem a bit too opaque for my taste. Let's just see what the rest of the level brings. Alright. Invisible speed changes, but still very easy to sight read. I'm digging this. The thing with the shadows was that the whole level is meant to be bright, right? The whole aesthetic is bright, flashy colors. But then these shadows just kind of put it in random darkness, which doesn't really make much sense. It's building tension very well right now. I'm excited to see what's coming up. A very drastic switch in color scheme to a more deep cherry red than I was expecting. Some random gray blocks as well that kind of contrast weirdly to the blue background. And we're back to the bright style. I much prefer the bright style in this. I think it suits the block choices more than the dark colors do. But it was still a very solid level. I might still send that for a feature. It's a creator without creator points. According to the description, it's their first level. I'm going to send that for a 5-star feature. There we go. Yeah, I'm looking at this, and for some reason, all of these shadows are on T1, when they could very easily be on a lower layer, like B3. I like that you've put notes in the editor, by the way. This is something that you don't really have to do, but it's probably good if you want to organize all of your stuff. Anyway, let me just level down this shadow a little bit. Just change the opacity. You see how much cleaner it looks when it's like less opaque. I mean, it's still cutting through the blocks. If I was to spend more time on this, I would probably make sure that that doesn't happen. But RNDO by ONVIL using Evening Rain by SYNEON. According to the description, this was made in one day, and good lord is it hard. Okay, so I like the gloominess of this overall, with the dark gradients covering everything, the trippy wavy lines in the background. The blocks are slightly copy-pasted, as are the saws, but I don't think it's much of a problem here. I really like the color choices so far and how it's changing its hue for every single beat of the song. Yep, definitely catching my attention, even if it's quite simplistic so far. I like that every object here is on a gradient and it has 2 tones to it. It's nice because it sets them apart from the dark background, but doesn't make them stray too far away from the vibe, because you've got shadows overlaying all of these blocks here. I'm getting destroyed by this robot. I like the flow here. The gameplay is very nice and easy to sight read, surprisingly. Okay, I'm looking for a change right now. I got it. I got exactly what I was looking for. Hold on, let me peep this wave part properly. It switches your gravity without much signal, but there's definitely a switch in style right here. You can tell the gameplay is made by someone else. I know this is a collab, so it makes sense, but it's a lot more experimental in the way that it does things. I like the shooting stars that overlay everything, and I like that the structuring is very minimal. It's all in tiny little boxes. Yeah, there's a lot of overlapping detail that puts the focus of the level instead on, like, figuring out where you are instead of just looking at the blocks and the designs and stuff. Like, a lot of the detail is just merged together in such a way where you can find appeal just by distinguishing what's what and looking at where to go. Like, look how far down you fly there. That's so unconventional. I like it. And this is just super cool as well. I love the different colors that are used. There could be a couple of directions as to where to go, but I guess the gimmick of the level is that you're supposed to figure out where to go by yourself. I don't know, maybe just some pulsing circles or arrows or anything. The gameplay is strangely intuitive though. It's really fun once you get the hang of it. And I love the fact that you have to hold that dash orb in order to stay on the block, because that spike's just going to kill you otherwise. That's super sick. This might not have much to it at times, but I really like the way that it plays. Yeah, this is really... I'm not a fan of that ending, but that's really cool. The blurry end screen as well. Interesting. I'm going to send that for a demon feature for sure. Bada bing, bada boom. Rating submitted. Apparently that was made in one day, and if that's true, that's really impressive. Honestly, there's not much I can say editor related. Just try and lay off the copy paste, because just looking at this, you can see there's a lot of the same assets being used over and over again. And this part with the spikes was especially strange, how they just overlap so much that it just becomes an indistinguishable mess. But yeah, I like the progression. In the beginning, it was like foggy. Then in the middle, it turned a bit trippy and you have to figure out where to go. It's like, it puts you in different scenarios all the way through. And then the ending is just trying to figure out how to use the orbs and the pads and the portals to your advantage. I like that the whole thing felt disorientating, but each part took that approach in a different manner. GLITTERBIT by Zenthic Axie 78 using Glittering Shores by Ocular Nebula. Ooh. These are some really nice colors. I love the way this is executed, that you can clearly see the edges, but there's a lot of moving assets that don't really distract from the gameplay. Yeah, I like the inversion of white and black right there, something that I mentioned in one of the first levels. This is sick. One thing I'm noticing though is that I'm at 60% already. That's a real shame because this had a lot of potential to progress and, you know, blossom from here. I really like the shapes and the way the colors are managed. Don't tell me that's the end. Oh my god, it is. It's like 30 seconds long. Oh my god. Smash like on that. Alright, I'm gonna follow you because I did think that was interesting. There's a lot of cool details here, like the pulsing circles that unveil as you go across. Cool transition right there too, how you kind of drown for a little bit and then come out of the water to this weird colorful craze. It really is sick. I like a lot of the floating assets, the outlines that kind of move around the blocks. It's so cool. I just wish it was longer. Make It by ITSCOK using Creo Never Make It. Ooh. Okay. So we've got a little modern looking thing right here with a lot of glow that's kind of falling down. That looks really nice actually. And this looks really foggy. There's a lot of bright spots, which is pretty realistic if you think of real life. If you're going down the street and it's foggy, the street lights kind of pop out at you, don't they? This is really interesting. There's a lot of sick ideas here. I'm just not sure about some of the opacities used overall. I feel like my vision could be made a lot clearer if it weren't to be fogged up so much and so frequently. And this part feels oddly static, even though there's a couple of moving objects, and I can't quite pinpoint why. The stripes in the background aren't moving at all. There's some glow pieces that are just kind of floating awkwardly in place. The transitions also feel slightly off, like they're not very integrated into the level. There's random assets scattered around everywhere. Yeah, like you see that? I'm just like floating around. But then this line is so cool looking in the background. I don't know. There's just so many cool ideas. I just don't really click with how it's done, to be honest. It's such a weird level, and I don't really know why. But I like that you kind of lose your vision towards the end. It goes dark. It fades into darkness. The ending was pretty well executed, I can't lie. Visually speaking, with like the foreground and stuff. It was slightly unsettling to me that in the beginning, every single block was static, but then you've got the rotating saws, the X's, the falling glow around me, and those really cool light beams. I just wish that kind of energy was shared in the blocks with some sort of subtle movement. You've got a couple of color changes leading up to the drop in the level, but I feel like they could be more frequent with less fade time to really build up that tension, because the way it's looking, it just sort of, I don't know, it just kind of flops and then goes bright all of a sudden. This looks sick when you've got so many glow pieces and the tiny little particles on the inside. The opacity is just quite a lot though. The saw movements right here are also very strange, how they kind of just like jankily move backwards and forwards like that. It doesn't match the blocks or any of the other details. Like even the falling particles that I can see right now, the squares right here, they just stay still. It doesn't make any sense. And I'm not trying to totally dig at this level because it does have a lot of cool things going for it. It just bothers me how weirdly executed it is when it could be something pretty nice. Now, these hanging baskets are an awesome detail, and I love that the flowers line the blocks. The salmon details kind of just clash with the desaturated background as well. And then you've got all of this black space that doesn't make much sense either. There's a lot of objects in this level as well. 92,000. You can kind of tell with all of these little cracks down here. So I have a particle selected right now. I'll make that my custom select with select filter. Let's just see how many of them there are. 8,232. Next up, we've got Lalapan Kuda by Adafka using Creo Red Haze. I thought we'd never see the day. The glowy design levels are back on the request form, ladies and gentlemen. It's looking pretty sick so far, honestly. There's some pretty big overlays that are kind of serving no other purpose than to just block my vision. They don't really tie into any of the other visuals, really. Okay, building up the tension with the bright pulses like that. I see you. That was pretty well done. I gotta give it credit for that. Okay, this seems to be tickling my fancy. We got the arrow transition, ladies and gentlemen. We found it. It seems to be a part of many design levels these days. It's really strange. But this has some pretty decent transitions to break up the design, which is definitely needed since it's so glowy and you can't really tell the difference between a lot of the objects most of the time. My eyes do need a break from that. It could do with some different colors and some less saturated points in the level because the whole thing kind of looks the same even though I'm at the drop. And what was that lag? Good lord. See, this is much nicer. I'm looking for a change like this where I'm not just constantly blinded by the overlays and stuff like that. And some more flowy gameplay instead of very tight jumps and quick orbs and stuff like that. That was weird. The ending just felt like a release even though we just passed the drop. Let's take the object test. 71.5k. Not bad. Could definitely be better just by looking at it. I just want to point out that the design remains the same through this whole drop section. Just using these blast processing looking objects. With this plain cyber looking ground spike, which is more interesting than a lot of other ground spikes I've seen. I'll give it that, but the ending is just far superior to me. Like, the design is way more stacked. The flowers have worked in really well. I'm going to play one more time through practice to see if I can get the hang of the gameplay. This is probably going to judge whether I'm going to send this for a feature or not because I kind of struggled to get through that the first time. While I'm going through this, I just want to say you could maybe indicate your gameplay better just by structuring things a bit more clearly. Big, long structures like that only confuse me, especially when I'm moving at high speeds, because it looks like I'm supposed to be reaching the end of the block when I'm jumping, but really I'm not. Now, this is mainly an issue with the blue orbs right here. It kind of makes sense for the ball, but in the beginning, there was like 3 extra blocks to the right of that blue orb. It looked like I was supposed to press it and just kind of hang on that block. I don't know. It's really strangely put together, but I gotta give it credit for its transitions and the way it flows visually. I'm gonna send this for a 9-star feature. I've made my decision. It just looked cool. Next up, we've got You're Gonna Love Me by FAWKSCD using Eliminate You're Gonna Love Me featuring Leah Culver Sharks remix. Ooh, punchy intro transition. Okay, this is smooth. The designs are extremely simple, but the way they worked into the surroundings with the glow and the shading on them just looks really nice so far. Great first impression. There's some decent movement, both with the pulsing beams in the background and the bouncing blocks. That's nice to see. It works in well with the song. Okay, we got a nice dark interlude right here. There's some black bars, which are a pet peeve of mine, but they are worked in pretty well, I can't lie. Because they're using... Hold on. The creator has decided to use blocks with gaps between the lines anyway. So it literally makes sense to use these. They don't clog up the visuals at all. Alright. Very good colors. Inverting pulses as well. That was a sick transition. I kind of got lost in that, I can't lie. But is there any need for the flashing screen? Good lord. I have to look at that every time. Stop it. It's fine. We got a checkpoint past it now. Let's just continue. I want to see what the drop of this is like, because the tension so far is insane. Bang. Yeah, this is sick. There's a lot of fast energy going with this. That was awesome. Hold on. I'm just going to reset just to see that once again. The rainbow blocks that sweep over you. That's something I have never seen before somehow. I'm going to slow-mo this. Look at the creativity in that. That's so awesome. It relies on glow a lot, but I don't think it's a problem because everything is so well fit together. It's not like glow was added as an aftersight here. It really is worked into all of the transitions. If I had to pick something for improvement, I would say the designs because they are quite plain when you just look at them. But when it's in motion, it's so nice. Boom. Gonna send that for a 9-star feature. Very cool. Bang. 27 by Sardal27 using Geoxor Nandeo. This has a very plain aesthetic, but there's a pretty cool effect in the blocks where the two-tone is kind of being consumed. Some mellow clouds and stripes in the background. There could just be more around the ground spikes. But this is catching my attention The inverting effects, which just seem to be a common theme of this episode apparently, are just completely stealing the show from me right now. Hey, that's a neat transition. Okay, how do I explain this? It's focused so much on the nice, like, charming details rather than unnecessary effects. It does kind of remind me of Accu at some points, just how the structures are formed. Yeah, it definitely does, with the wiggles and the wave and the way that the structures are two-toned like that. I really like how it just transforms into black space all of a sudden. The gameplay is also sick. I'm enjoying this a lot. I just wish there was a few more visual twists that made it its own, you know? The grey tone in the block design isn't really hitting for me either. That was sweet, I enjoyed it. It's definitely a good start to a level. It just could expand on the way that it ties a couple of its assets together, whether it be some more air decoration, some more unique design that matches what's going on elsewhere. But the pink part was definitely my favorite, and I love these transitions where you kind of break the barrier like that. That's sick. Oh, that's kind of a blind transition, I can't lie. But that was very cool. I enjoyed looking at it. Do I send it? Do you have creator points? No. You know what? Let's put this as a rate only. Why not? Just work on the designs and you got this. Nice job. Last level for today, Sun and Moon by BANGALED using Mistakes by DV. Very punchy color scheme right off the bat. How you've got the contrast of the gray and the bright orange pulses. And the rising sun that kind of expands and shrinks like that. This is very creative. The palm trees are also pristine quality. Holy crap, there's not a single patch on those. Okay, neat looking design. I like the sync with the very, very quick speed changes, how the blocks kind of like shift towards you very slightly. The particles are catching my attention as well. That's a way to bring in a bit more detail to the level. It's switching up a lot and I like it. Okay, this is more mellow than the previous parts, using a lot more dark color, especially with the black hills in the background and the moonlight. I get the name, Sun and Moon. It's feeling a little bit copy-pasted right now because the format of the structures and the saws are exactly the same. They're using the same colors, but that was very short, to the point, and sweet. I think I'm going to send that for a feature regardless, even if I noticed a couple of things that threw me off a little bit. Another no creator point creator. What have you requested? You've requested 5. Boom, I'll give you 5 feature. Let's go. Positive vibes all round. Nice and optimized, 26k. I just really like the different assets that you've used, even if the blocks were pretty basic. The design in the middle was pretty well executed. I mean, there's not much to it. It is just a bunch of random white details on top of a dark block, but the way that it ties in with the particles and the background that was there is just really nice. I mean, this part was probably the weakest, but the surroundings and everything really made it. I just like these low caliber, easy, creative levels like that. It's awesome to see. Thank you for sending that in, BANGALED. And that's that. Thank you for watching this Geometry Dash level request video. Check the links in the description. You'll find the link to my server and my Twitch, where you'll be able to find the Google form somehow. I don't know. Well, I do know, but I don't know which way you're going to choose. Leave a like and subscribe, and have a good day.